Hi, so it's Friday, the end of the week. Always a happy time for everyone. I do wish everyone well that's competing this weekend. Hope you get round safe and happy and your horses are sound. Um, Once again, any emergency over the weekend, please give us a ring. We're always there 24/7, 365 days a year. So today's been a little bit of a quieter day. First job of the morning was actually a pre-sale breeding exam. So for thoroughbreds leaving racing, we routinely do a pre-breeding check. So that usually involves a clinical exam. It's a basic examination. It's a trot-out flexion test, check the eyes, heart, lungs, everything's fine, clinically normal. Then, because it's a race mare, they've often never been rectal before, so we will sedate them heavily. We'll then scan their uterus, their ovaries, check that there are two, and that they look like they have normal follicular activity. Most thoroughbreds, because they're under lights, because the guys start early in the morning, 3:30, 4 in the morning, lights are on from then. A lot of them will actually cycle all through the year, so that's something to be aware of. If your mares are cycling all through the year, have you got them under lights? If you've got them under lights, then it's more than likely the reason. If they're out in the paddock and it's been cold and dark and they haven't shut down, because we all know horses usually, as daylight lengthens in the spring, they start to cycle really well. Then as we come to autumn and the daylight shortens, they shut down, they go into anestrus, and that's quite normal. If you've got a mare that's cycling right through and quite strong, it might be worthwhile getting it checked out. So anyway, so it was a good start to the day, and everything else is going well. A couple of footsore horses that actually have responded really well to treatment. So I'm just in the next part of this video. It's a little bit longer today. We've had a question from a new subscriber. The question was, what's the difference between low-grade laminitis and foot soreness, and how can you tell the difference? So in the next few clips and videos, I'm going to try and talk you through how you can tell the difference. Often can be a little bit tricky at times, but hopefully we can give you some pointers to try and work out what's going on. Thanks very much. This is an X-ray of an obvious laminitic horse. You can see the rotation of the pedal bone and the gas shadow up the front. This horse is very close to rotating its pedal bones. Well, this horse here, actually the thickness of the sole is only about 7 millimeters, and this horse is just footsore. So this is a laminitic horse found in the paddock, acute laminitic episode. You can see the horse is sitting back, often high stepping behind, very reluctant to move, and it really is sitting back on itself and doesn't want to come forward. Often horses, when they've got laminitis, will be very stiff behind in the front leg. So when you're trying to separate an early laminitic versus a footsore horse, it can be a little bit difficult. So one of the things you'll see us all use is a set of hoof testers. We apply gentle pressure, we squeeze around the foot to see if we can identify any sites of soreness. The laminitic horse will tend to sit back when they're moving and they're walking, whereas the footsore horse will be about, and the best way to describe it is a cat in a hot tin roof. They usually have very short stepping, and the stride length is very, very short, so they usually have quick movement, whereas the laminatics tend to be more laboured in their movement and their step, and it's very deliberate. They tend to sit back. The footsore horse tends to will move, but it's like tip top, tip top, tip top, tip top. They're very quick to move. So if you see either of those signs, sometimes foot soreness horses can develop laminitis. So laminitis by definition is inflammation of the lamina, which then covers a further part of the disease. So you've got rotation, you've got sinking. So the early part of laminitis, inflammation. So you want to cool the feet down, you want to get the horse comfortable. It's not normal for horses to be footsore, so we don't like them to be footsore. One of the greatest and the simplest ways to make your horse a lot more comfortable, deep sand yard. Get them in the sand. They can position the sand the way that they makes them more comfortable, so that whether if they're laminitis, they'll often get their toes down in and lift their heels up. We often treat laminitis that way. We elevate the heels. We take the pressure off the deep digital flexor. The footsore horses will just be a little bit more comfortable. They'll get some relaxation by standing in the sand and getting themselves more comfortable. The other sign we often see with laminitis is shifting of weight. So you just stand back and watch your horse. Does it rock from foot to foot to foot to foot? That happens all the time. So just, I suppose the take home from it is, if you see no reason why your horse is suddenly footsore, assume laminitis. You can't do any harm by assuming laminitis straight off. So if your horse hasn't had its feet trimmed for ages, if the ground's been hard for weeks and you haven't done any work, and all of a sudden your horse is struggling to move, assume laminitis, deep sand yard, some anti-inflammatories, icing the leg. Icing's great. Cool everything down, decrease the inflammation within the leg. So the take-home message really is, if nothing's changed in your horse's management and your horse is suddenly unwilling to move, starting to sit back a little bit, then they assume early signs of laminitis. Often you can catch it straight away. So settle them down, sand yard, cool their feet, a little bit of anti-inflammatories, and generally things will settle down pretty quickly. Just one final point, a really interesting thing that we've come across. I've seen 3 horses where I've been called to look at a bilateral string halt action behind. All 3 were footsore. So interestingly, when some horses, when they get sore back feet, will high step, and they look like a string halt. And these horses were diagnosed, they had binding pulses to their feet, sensitive on hoof testers all around the feet, not specific to one area. I actually did nerve blocks at both back feet, and the horses trotted off beautifully. So we had foot soreness there. So have a great weekend. I hope this has answered your question. Thank you very much for the question. Anyone else have any other questions, please send them through, private message me or comment on the video, and I'll try and answer them as I go. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.